Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we grab a whole stack of sources, really interesting stuff, and just try to pull out the absolute core insights.
Exactly. We do the digging so you get the essential knowledge, the surprising bits, without having to read everything yourself.
Right, we want it to be focused, useful, maybe a little entertaining too. Keep you hooked.
Yeah, hopefully.
So today, we're doing an extraordinary deep dive. We're looking at the life of J.K. Rowling. And this isn't just about, massive book sales. It's really a story about resilience, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And how creativity can really blossom even when things are, well, incredibly tough.
Yeah, forged in challenging circumstances seems like the right way to put it.
And what's so fascinating, I think, is that it's not your typical rags to riches tale.
Hmm.
There's more nuance there.
Okay.
We're going to explore how her deepest struggles didn't just shape her. They actually became the foundation for this world-changing achievement.
A bedrock, yeah.
Exactly. You might know the headlines, but there are these threads, these connections between her lowest points and her highest creative vision.
And that might resonate with people listening too, right?
I think so. You might just find some surprising echoes, perhaps, in your own experiences.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Where did it all start? Joanne Rowling, born in England, 1965, grew up in what seemed like a fairly ordinary family.
On the surface, maybe, but even from a really young age, she wasn't just living in the real world. She was building these, intricate fantasy worlds inside her head, apparently always telling her younger sister stories about magic and adventure.
So that storytelling bug, it early.
Very early. And it's significant, I think. She wasn't necessarily a star student, often described as a bit of a daydreamer.
Which is funny because you hear that about a lot of creative people, don't you?
You do. Their minds are just elsewhere, more engaged internally. She apparently wrote her first book about a rabbit when she was 6.
6? Wow.
And by 11, she was writing something much more complex about, 7 cursed diamonds.
So the seeds were definitely there, long before anyone saw the potential.
Absolutely. Planted very early on.
But even with all that imagination, life wasn't always easy. Her mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when Joanne was a teenager.
Yeah. That's a huge thing for a young person to deal with.
Mm.
Watching her mom's health decline over, 10 years?
It must have just fundamentally changed how she saw things. Life, loss.
It had to. And if you think about how those formative years dealing with illness, the shadow of loss, how that might feed into her later work, the emotional depth.
Right, that makes sense.
Then after university, she studied French. She had a series of jobs. Secretary was one, I think.
Yeah, and she apparently admitted she was terrible at it.
Right, because her mind was always drifting back to her stories, so it wasn't just, boring jobs. It was her real passion trying to break through.
Even when she maybe didn't fully recognize it herself yet.
Exactly.
And then comes the moment. 1990. The delayed train.
Ah, yes. The origin story. Manchester to London. Delayed train.
And bam, this image just pops into her head.
Just appears, yeah. A skinny kid, messy black hair, glasses.
The lightning scar.
The lightning scar. And he doesn't know he's a wizard.
It's incredible. Where does an idea like that just come from? Fully formed, almost.
It makes you wonder about creativity, doesn't it? How these things incubate. She said she could see him, the school, the world. It all started unfolding right there.
And she didn't even have a pen.
No pen. So she just had to build it all in her head for 4 hours, piece by piece. Talk about mental effort.
It shows how compelling that initial vision must have been.
Absolutely. The subconscious just served it up, ready to go.
But just as this amazing idea is starting to form, tragedy strikes again.
Yeah. Her mother passed away before Joanne could tell her about Harry Potter.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. She must have been devastated.
Utterly. And she said since that Harry's own feelings of loss, that profound grief for his parents, that came directly from her own experience.
Right.
That raw feeling.
So that terrible loss, it didn't just affect her personally, it actually shaped the core of the story, gave it that authenticity.
Definitely. It became a crucible for the writing, adding that emotional weight. Then, not long after, she moved away, right, to Portugal.
Yeah, to teach English. And she got married there, had her daughter, Jessica.
But that marriage didn't last either.
No. So by 1993, she's back in the UK, Edinburgh, I think.
Right. With her baby daughter, basically one suitcase.
And just part of the Harry Potter manuscript, that's it.
Talk about starting over from scratch.
Hmm.
And then came that period she talks about quite openly. Real hardship.
No job, living on government support. She called it rock bottom.
Feeling like a complete failure, battling depression. I mean, it sounds incredibly bleak.
It does, and yet, and this is the astonishing part, she kept writing.
In the middle of all that, it speaks volumes about persistence, doesn't it?
Taking her daughter out in the stroller.
Finding a cafe, nursing a cheap coffee for hours just so she could write while the baby slept.
It wasn't easy. It was driven by this absolute need to create, wasn't it? Even when everything else was falling apart.
It was her lifeline, I think. Creativity is survival.
So she finally finishes the first book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, 1995.
And then the rejections start rolling.
Oh, yeah. Not just one or two, 12.
12 different publishers said no. Can you imagine getting those letters back, one after another?
Too long. Too weird. Children's books don't sell.
I mean, most people, understandably, would have probably just given up at that point. It's soul-crushing.
Especially after everything she'd already been through.
Right. But she didn't. She kept sending it out through all that doubt and despair.
Until finally, one small publisher, Bloomsbury.
A relatively small, independent place. They took a chance.
But even they weren't exactly betting the farm on it, were they?
Not at all. Tiny advance, I think. And the first print run was minuscule, like 500 copies.
And half of those were just meant for libraries.
Yeah. So incredibly humble beginnings for what was about to happen.
And then it just took off. Kids started reading it.
Kids loved it. Parents started reading it. Teachers were recommending it.
It started winning awards.
And then the Americans got interested. Scholastic. They bought the U.S. rights.
For a pretty significant sum, right? Over $100,000.
Which, for someone who'd been living on benefits just a short while before.
This must have been absolutely life-changing. Just unbelievable.
And the rest, as you said, is history. Over 500 million copies sold worldwide.
The movies, the theme parks. She became the first billionaire author. It's staggering.
Staggering financial success, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think maybe the deeper impact
Was the reading, right?
Exactly. Millions of kids, maybe kids who wouldn't normally pick up a book, got completely hooked on reading because of Harry Potter. That's a huge cultural impact.
It really is. It created a whole generation of readers.
So her journey, it just powerfully shows how those struggles, that rock bottom she talked about,
Became the foundation.
it literally became the foundation she built her life on. And it proves that failure, well, it taught her things success never could have.
Yeah, her darkest times really did give birth to her brightest ideas. It's quite profound when you think about it that way.
It really is.
So what's the takeaway here for you listening?
Well, I think it really drives home that rejection.
Yeah.
It isn't the end of the story.
Not at all.
It's the-
It's part of the process, isn't it? Part of the journey.
Absolutely. And her story is just undeniable proof that sometimes you just need that one yes.
Just one, after all the no's. It can change everything.
Everything. And think about it. If she had quit after rejection number 5 or number 12,
No, Harry Potter just wouldn't exist.
millions of kids wouldn't have found that love of reading. A whole magical world gone.
It's kind of mind-boggling.
It is. So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this.
Okay.
How could embracing your own struggles, instead of just trying to avoid them, how could that actually be the thing that unlocks your creativity, your impact?
Turning adversity into something else.
Exactly. So reflect on this. What challenging no in your life right now?
Yeah.
What rejection or difficulty
Yeah.
might actually counterintuitively be pointing you towards your most important, most transformative yes?